Ready? Right, we'll call a public safety meeting to order Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 5 p.m. With here in the hall, Chris Marino,
Chris Duback, Jessica Plaird.
are all present. All right, we'll move on to the November 10th, 2025 minutes. Did you find any errors?
Funny you're asking me. I found a couple of tiny things that could be very important, yes.
Okay,
So if we can look at 4B, where we're talking about the ordinance amendment.
okay, yeah, you said that.
Yep, so when we read on, it says either side of the roadway on Main Street. And it should say County Road BV, but it says city. Just one little word makes, one little letter.
That's
makes
true.
difference, so.
Yep, you're right.
And then also when we read on beginning at 130th west, that should be 130 feet west.
130 feet?
Yep. That's the only thing I found.
Okay. Otherwise, everything else looked, I mean, as far as looked good other than those.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Now, do we have to,
Make a motion to approve them with the additional updates.
Okay, I'll make a
So
motion
moved.
to.
is that a?
Yeah, I just
motion?
made it. I made a motion to approve as is with these minor updates.
Yep,
I'll second.
Okay.
there you go. First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, so now we'll move on to, we didn't have anything for unfinished business. So we'll go to new business. Discuss, possible recommendations, side letter agreement, lateral transfer program, and police recruit academy sponsorship program. You wanna go over this a little bit for
Since I'm new.
Jessica?
For sure. So we recognize that our police union contract. So the union contract is made up of the folks who are in the union, so everyone but John and I, essentially. And they're part of the Wisconsin Professional Police Association, WPPA. And so they have a set contract which kind of talks about like hours worked, wages, when they get wages increases via steps, years of service, etc. We recognize that there was kind of a gap. We weren't really keeping up with the times in regard to recruiting. Specifically, we haven't sponsored someone through an academy in a very long time. And then also we haven't really gotten or targeted folks who have already been through the academy, maybe working full-time for another agency that want to come here. So when we go to post a hiring process, one of the check marks we can advertise is whether we offer a lateral transfer program, which essentially says like, if you've had 5 years of police experience for another agency and you want to come here, we'd start you at your equivalent, or whatever the contract would say. And currently we don't have anything like that. And a lot of agencies that we're competing with for applicants have something like that. And it is a pretty good deal to start, at an advanced step in getting credit for your experience,
Sure.
essentially. So,
So this is new. We're gonna introduce this as something new.
correct, this
Yes.
is new. This would be a side letter agreement to the contract. It's already been reviewed by the union. It's been reviewed by WPPA and signed by WPPA. And ultimately, I'm taking to the board to get their authorization. And the gist of this is we would start a person with verified law enforcement experience up to step 3. That way, someone that with 10 years experience can't automatically go get topped out right away. And then also, I believe it talks about their probationary period would still be 12 months. Seniority they'd still start at the bottom for seniority, so they wouldn't be bumping anyone in that regard. And vacation accrual would go up to the 2-year mark. So, I mean, it's all laid out in here. It's, again, it was worked on between kind of me and the union to kind of come up with a creative way to recognize and kind of keep up with the Joneses here. And then the second part of this is just the Police Recruit Academy sponsorship program. So we're recognizing that we're kind of in a situation where it's likely that we are gonna have to sponsor someone through an academy. Which is essentially paying them to go to school, to become a police officer. And a lot of agencies are having a lot of success with non-traditional, police officers who may have not gone to school for law enforcement, but now for whatever reason are making the leap. And, so we kind of saw that yesterday from our interview process. Like, we had some really solid folks, who just don't have the academy yet. And, it's kind of becoming an industry standard to kind of do this approach. For example, I teach in the academy, as an adjunct instructor. I'd say 90+% of the recruits are hired and sponsored, coming through. So it's this whole putting yourself through the academy is kind of a thing of the past. So anyways, this essentially would say that, while you're in the academy, you're getting paid 75% of the starting wage, which for us right now in the current contract would be around $22 an hour, which is still pretty good when we're paying for them to be at school. We're providing a vehicle for them for transport to the academy. It also does a very important thing, which is extends our probationary period, the length of the academy. So typically, like, we get a new employee in, we have a 12-month probationary period currently in our contract. That's a really important time for us to evaluate whether or not they're a good fit for our agency. Whether, it goes back, whether we're a good fit for them as well. It's kind of this, a little bit more at will type of employment. If someone's not working out, we might have to let them go, in that probationary period. So anyways, it just extends the length of the academy to give us a better idea, of whether or not they're gonna be a good fit once they get here. So the gist of it is that 75% of the full-time wage, and then extending the probationary period.
In this document, do we have to put like if they quit or anything like that, if they have to reimburse some of the money we've sponsored?
So that's the next agenda item.
Okay,
Yeah.
no worries,
Mhm.
okay.
Nothing in the contract.
So it'll be an adoption, those, more
Okay.
underneath it.
Awesome.
Good question. So with that being said, I would make a recommendation for the side letter agreement, lateral transfer program of Police Recruit Academy sponsorship program. To recommend it to the board.
I'll second.
First and second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, now we'll move on to 5B, discuss possible recommendation. Adoption of a police officer pre-employment reimbursement agreement. That's what we're talking.
So yeah, we kind of modeled this from what Toma polices are doing. They separated it out from their union contract to a side contract that's kind of offered at the time of a conditional offer. It sounds like they've been challenged on this in court, and they've won too.
Nice.
Previously, what we heard is some of these are kind of not worth the paper that they're signed on, but this, the way it's worded and the kind of how they accrued that in this model is forcible. I think the best way to visualize this is to go to the page that shows the exhibit A for reimbursement. And so starting at month 1, like the employee would accrue a $600 debt. So every month is $600 until you get up to $7,200, which happens to be in month 12.
How many, is it 36 months for that whole program?
No, so the programs are around 4 months.
Okay.
But this would, we're also trying to kind of circumvent people that might use us as a stepping stone. They come in, we train them, and they leave for a different aspiration. And so there are exceptions in here. For example, if we did what we talked about earlier, we hire someone, you know, 18 months into it, we realize they might not be a good fit for us, and we release them on probation. Like if it's a mutually agreed upon separation, we waive.
Yeah.
We'd waive this, but if they're leaving to go to greener pastures, or what they perceive to be greener pastures, you know, this would be enforceable.
Okay,
So this just gives us a little bit, and arguably like $7,200 is pretty fair. You know, I'd say we have a lot more into these employees than that, you know, from training, uniforms, recruiting, mileage, FTO, you know, et cetera. So I feel like if this is super reasonable.
Schooling alone is around 6,500, right?
Yeah, so we get reimbursed from the state on the tuition and kind of room and board. We don't meet the lodging requirements because both CDTC and Northwood Tech is within 75 miles of us.
Sure.
But they will reimburse mileage and like their per diem for food and stuff too. So, and the kind of the catch to that is they have to be sworn in prior to the academy, and they also have to graduate. So otherwise, we're on the hook for all that. So I did put like a side thing in here for part-time employees. You know, we still try to, part-timers are kind of a thing of the past now, just because there's so many full-time openings. But, so I thought it was important to distinguish, like, let's say someone from the sheriff's office wants to come here and work here part-time. I don't want them to have to commit to like a 3-year commitment to us per se. So if someone's already been through the academy, they're a certified police officer and they wanna work here part-time, there's an exemption, like they're not. They're not
Part-time's a
bound
little
to
bit of
this.
different story too, though,
Yeah.
right? And, even like, cause there is, we are already, it's in the budget for part-time.
Yep.
But we haven't had them for a while,
oh,
but wasn't it that like, with a part-timer, he doesn't even necessarily have to go to the board for that, do you?
Yeah, for part-time
For
hires.
part-time hires?
No, but like, you know, I'm just talking about this for the contract
Sure.
specifically. So if we were to sponsor someone through, it would be at 50% of this. Just so we have some people.
for a part-time one,
Correct, who hasn't been through the academy yet. So
Yeah.
that's,
okay.
I'm trying to cover all angles here.
There's a lot.
You know, has the attorney had a look at this?
I have not run it by him.
But. It's like it covers all the bases.
It did sound like, they did have litigation on it and it did hold up.
Yeah, in Toma,
Yep.
yeah.
on court.
You know, and I feel like there is like a, you know, if any provision of this agreement is found unenforceable, the remaining provision shall remain in full force and effect. You know, I guess it wouldn't hurt to have the attorney, look at it, but I feel like it's pretty solid the way it is,
I do too.
so, and I'm not a lawyer, I don't play one on TV, so.
Right. Well, I will make a motion to recommend to the village board, the Village of Somerset Police Department Pre-Employment Reimbursement Agreement.
Oh, sorry.
First and second on the table, no other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to, the municipal court. 2025 budget report. Pretty much looks like about right, huh? I'm assuming that other expenses that happened all just over the time and it's up to the rest of the year, I'm assuming, you think?
Possibly, sometimes that's a tough one to
Right.
kind of budget for and,
No.
yeah,
But it's not terrible. Mhm. Yes,
Nothing looks crazy on those.
right. All right, cool. Well, we'll move on to the police department. 2025 budget report. Ooh, I don't know about this one.
overall, we're 4% higher than, the court.
Yeah, it looks good
Year to
though.
date, So 90%, I feel like we should probably be right around that 88%,
Sure.
you know, for year to date.
Mhm. Any questions?
Right, no,
No Russians.
All right. All right, let's move on to the police chief report. We'll look at the November incident report. I think it was pretty busy.
Yeah. Yeah, so 249 overall. Um. You know, I feel like these extra patrol requests, not requests, but extra patrol cards are kind of. Inflating the overall cost of service a little bit.
What
Sure.
does that mean?
So, yeah, like for example, we had some community concerns about, traffic speeding
Yeah.
on Harriman Street and Evergreen and some of the major arteries.
Yep,
So every time we go there, we'll pull a card, for extra patrol and we're documenting our time spent there, just so. Well, one, we have like an internal record of it, and two, we can kind of track it a little bit.
Okay.
We also pull like extra patrol cards for like pulling doors at night at the school district, you know, some local businesses, you know, making sure the building's secure, doing a walk around of the building. So things like that,
Just so it's documented.
correct. Some other agencies do this, and we're essentially kind of starting to hop on the train. It's kind of like we're documenting our time essentially. Just creating a log.
Yeah, and I think it's good in. Anybody have any questions on those? That's all?
nope, just looking to see if any of them. Like, make sure I understand what most of them are.
Right.
911 hang up, like,
It seems to happen a lot.
it seems like it does.
Yeah. Remember that one year they were up at ARFC about every other. Wasn't it like
Yeah,
5 times a day or something?
right.
Cause one of the phones would just ring, somehow it would ring 911.
oh, no.
Yeah,
No,
cool. All right, department activities, you said it was kind of slow
Yeah, I don't really
this
have
time of year.
a whole lot to talk about. Obviously, it was, hunting season and, so leave started for, the officer who was deployed. So we're kind of balancing the schedule, Thanksgiving, the holidays, so we made it through that. I know last, week we talked about, or last meeting, the ordinance for, amending the parking, right? So we talked to Bob a little bit about whether signs are gonna go there, or it's gonna be like a painted curb. And it sounds like the curb painting is, what he's in favor of. And honestly, like the whole reason we kind of went down this road, like it's naturally not a good place to park. You know, it's on a
For
corner,
sure,
it's tight.
absolutely.
But in the summer, when, the concert folks come in, they'll start, you know, parking wherever they want. And, I feel like having that, at the very least, painted would be a good thing, so. That's kind of what Bob came up with it. I'm not opposed to seeing if that works. We can still put on those temporary no parking, take this stakes as well.
How far up the street are you talking?
So if,
For the thing?
for the painting, probably just the Depot Street.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of like,
To me, after that, it's
Issue.
obvious, there's just no room to park.
correct. Yeah, you're too close to an intersection, that's, BP West is there. So, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I did hear a little discussion from like the last, the committee of the whole discussing, who puts out the no parking signs. So we get reimbursed from the venue. For example, the two public work part-time guys traditionally have put signs for us. I asked for them or to report back to me with how many hours they logged putting signs out. And, we put that into an administrative cost, and we essentially bill Live Nation for that.
Right.
So we are getting reimbursed. I know that Bob said something about, you know, taxpayers' dollars shouldn't be used to put signs out, and they're not.
Right.
And they have brought up, you know, it sounds like in years past, the venue prior to Live Nation would put no parking signs out, like that'd be a part of their deal. But then Live Nation's taking the perspective of, no, that's a liability for us, like we don't put signs on village streets, we don't put it on, county roads. One thing they do is they hire, a company like Warning Lights, a third-party deal that they get involved typically in like, detours and road constructions. They got the barrels. They're the ones with the variable message boards that are out there. So, I mean, like, I feel like they are putting resources to it, like they're paying for those, all
warning
those
lights.
signs and, you know, they're paying for the public works guys. And typically, like, I'm pretty heavily involved in kind of overseeing that the signs are put out, and then we also take them down. And I know that, I think Jana said that one of the concerts, they were left out for too long. We're usually pretty good, unless it's like a back-to-back show, and then we'll leave them out overnight, but typically during the show, we'll go out and rip them out of the ground, and throw them in the back of the truck. So, I mean, I understand that it's a point of contention with the community, it's frustrating, it's frustrating for us. We wrote a lot of tickets last year for people who were parking, where they weren't supposed to be parked.
Right.
And to be quite frankly, like, those are the things that, like, I feel bad for Colleen, cause she gets so many calls and everyone's saying like, well, there was not properly signed and I couldn't see a sign, and it's like, well, we take pictures of the vehicles in proximity to the signs, you know, all for a parking ticket, you know? So anyways, it's something that we recognize as an issue and an ongoing issue. I feel like adding more signs is probably part of the solution, maybe making the signs a little more obvious, maybe putting them on, delineators or different types of more
Still don't
obvious.
understand why that's such an issue when it's free parking.
The problem is like when it's not flowing, for example,
Oh,
that they
sure.
like.
I suppose.
And like, if you're in a standstill traffic and you see a development that's within walking distance.
Sure.
Why not do it?
I
Yeah,
suppose,
Yeah.
I guess I never really.
One of the other things we're trying to change is, their address that's listed on Google Maps and Apple Maps. Cause if they're gonna be using this 808 or this north of Spring Street address, people still type in Somerset Amphitheater, it takes them to 495 Main Street. So everyone that blindly follows their GPS, no matter what the signs say, no matter what a cop's trying to kind of guide you along. And then they get there and that entrance is closed. So anyways, I just wanted to touch base on that. Also, our ordinance that talks about that special event sign. It specifically says that the chief of police shall talk to the village public works director to instruct them to put signs up. So, like, it's pretty clear in ordinance about like how this is supposed to go down.
Right.
And I feel like we're doing it to the best of our ability, and we recognize that there's room for improvement, so.
I agree. I think throughout the years, the system has gotten better and more clear.
Absolutely,
Right.
right?
So, Um. So winter parking, has been brought up. You know, we've been pretty consistent. Traditionally, we'll give warnings from November 15th through December 1st. Or early December. Usually it's December 1st. And then from there, we kind of transition to tickets. And we found, that we have a lot of voluntary compliance and success with the warnings, people getting off the roads. Like, there'd be like over 100 warnings like put out in one night, like early on. And then, so sometimes there are issues with folks who, don't comply. Or like, for example, we had a couple snow events in November. And, you could tell it's pretty obvious that a vehicle was plowed in. So like, that's an issue. We addressed those individually. We came up with a reasonable timeline for these folks to get their vehicle moved. And so far, we've had like 99.9% success. There's one vehicle left that, we're working with tonight. We might have to tow it, but, they're donating it, and it's just like. So I feel like it's a reasonable approach. We work with people. We're not trying to write. If we had the ability to write 15 tickets or 15 warnings, we're doing the warnings, to try to.
Yeah, definitely wanna give them the warning,
You want-
right?
you wanna give them a warning. Not, people are new to town, they don't know some.
Exactly. So like, we want there to be some grace. There's obviously some grace over the holidays as well.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
even like
obvious.
down the street from where I was,
Yeah.
clearly they must have been either moving there
Right,
or they're moving out.
right.
So they had a big U-Haul. And you could see obviously if it was plowed around,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
like like on Monday, it was gone.
Yeah,
So I don't know, maybe it was one of those deals where they had to wait till
and we work
Monday to bring it
closely,
in or something.
we do work closely with Public Works. If they identify an issue, especially when plowing and there's an
Sure.
issue, like we're pretty
Yeah,
quick to
absolutely.
get that resolved, so.
Yep.
Um. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about the hiring process next, right?
Yep.
So, officially we have, we're kind of down 3 spots, with, Trent being gone. We had Zachary Anderson resign on the 28th of this month. And, then we have the 45 a week position to fill. So, I'm excited to talk next about the
Yeah.
candidates and, see where that takes us.
Sure. Right, thank you, chief. We'll move on to check out the police and court bills.
There's not much.
Well,
It's like,
I think, yeah, we're good. Yes,
One item. Yep, I think we're.
no, there's one on the back too.
no,
There's 2 items.
oh, sure,
163, one's 100. It's fine to me.
right on. Okay, well, we'll make a motion to go into closed session per Wisconsin State Statute 19.851 C. Review the results of the recent hiring process, including discussion of potential offers of employment and updates to the eligibility list.
A second.
Chris Dubak, aye. Roll call.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Just the third eye.
Yep, Chris Marino, aye. So, well, we'll go into
Closed session.
closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
So I might have to mute my, or turn off the audio, otherwise it might get an echo.
Are we back in?
Let me just check.
Yes.
Is Brenda on there?
So the volume's working, here it is.
Yep, there we go.
Anybody? Make a motion to come out of closed session or reconvene into open session and act on closed session items.
All right, I move forward to make a motion of hiring Noah Bierman with the effective start date of January 22nd to the Somerset Police Department.
Just clarification, January 2nd.
Second,
January 2nd,
Yeah.
yes.
2026.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And we have one more.
I make a motion to extend the conditional offer of employment to Owen Parnell, effective upon completion of all required pre-employment clearances and departmental sponsorship with an anticipated start date to be determined in May of 2026.
I'll second that motion.
First and second on the table, any other thing to add? Oh, all right, all in favor?
Say aye. Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, congratulations to those guys. Do we have any other future agenda items that you would like to have put on for our next meeting?
I do eventually want to talk about our speed limits, but not the next meeting. It'll
Okay.
be,
We'll,
a couple.
we'll put it on, okay. Did you have anything, Chris?
no,
Okay, make a motion to adjourn.
second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Good job, girls.
Yeah,